Frig, I'm 50. If you're watching this on the day of release, it is my birthday, 12th of July. Hooray! You can come and see my show, Oh Frig, I'm 50, at the Edinburgh Fringe if you want. It's on at the Pleasance 1, 7:30 every night. I'm also doing some podcasts there, Richard Herring's Edinburgh Fringe podcast, on Friday afternoons. I thought I'd book Saturday afternoons, which would have been clever, in quite a big theatre at the Newtown Theatre for the first 3 Fridays. So come along and see those if you're in Edinburgh. I will be touring Oh Frig, I'm 50, I'm sure, so come and see that. And also, of course, you can buy from gofasterstrike.com this emergency questions book full of 500 questions, such as, what is your favourite papal name? And that will be a good one for intellectuals. Mine is Bonyface, but Urban's good, isn't it? There's all sorts of good ones. Do you think that maybe you're in your own version of The Truman Show? Everyone does, you fucking idiot! So if you buy that, it's £10 from gofasterstrike.com or from me at gigs. All that money will be ploughed back into paying for filming this show. And it's going quite well, so we might actually be able to film this series just on the proceeds of selling this book. And we paid for the last series with the Kickstarter for that book. So hooray for us. Well done. Let's sit back and enjoy Richard Herring's Leicester Square Theatre podcast. My guest this week is Zoe Lyons. Zoe Lyons. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Leicester Square Theatre. Please welcome a man who has quite badly cut his finger today and needs a plaster. That's how bad it was. It's Richard Herring! Thank you very much. Hello! Hello, Leicester Square. Hello, how you doing? Hello, London. Lovely to be here. Welcome to Richard Herring's Leicester Square Theatre podcast. I was outside Books Etc. the other day, queuing up with some of the other people for the new Harry Potter release. We're all waiting outside for the next one to come out. It's not been announced, but we're just waiting in case. And there was a kid there dressed up as Hagrid, and he was about 5. He called it Rehearstibus, so I don't know if that's going to catch on. I've cut my finger on in a middle-class accident where I was putting some glasses back into the cupboard and accidentally dislodged a champagne glass that fell out, and I tried to catch it and I caught it just as it broke, and it cut my finger and I properly bled. Oh, it's nasty. It really hurt. But I'm going to soldier on and carry on with the show. Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, fucking hell. I mean, thank God this show isn't topical, because it's just got to the point now where I'm afraid to go to sleep. Because every time I've woken up, every day I've woken up just to more appalling news. So, hello people in the future. You may remember the problems we were having. They're probably nothing compared to what's going on with you. This one is going out on the 12th of July, on my birthday. I hope we're all still here. But we may not be. There was one topical thing I saw I think it was the Daily Express, was at the front page of the Daily Express saying, in the light of all the terrorist atrocities that have been happening, that the SAS are pretending to be homeless people, so they're ready to jump into action. I mean, that is quite irresponsible of the Daily Express. I can't understand. Because if it's true, then that means terrorists are just going to go, well, if you see any homeless people, shoot them in the face first. And if it's not true, then loads of beggars are just going to get attacked, aren't they, for no reason? So I don't understand why not that we have any reason to like the Daily Express. I went to, and my other piece of news this week is I went to a new sourdough pizza chain. What's it called? Something Franco de Manco or something. Yeah, Franco Manco. I hated it. I thought it was awful. I love pizza and I love sourdough. I just thought it was weak all round. My wife had anchovies and capers and olives. She's pregnant on her pizza, and it tastes like soap. And I thought, well, that's just because she's got the superpower of being pregnant, and all your senses are heightened, and you become. It's not a very useful superpower. But no, I tasted it. It was fucking awful. I was in Franco de Manco, and there's a very limited menu. It's basically got 6 pizzas, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the waitress came over and I said, can I have the number 6, the chorizo pizza? And she looked at me like she'd never heard of the concept of what I was talking about. To the point I went, oh, sorry, have I misread the menu? Do you not have that? She wrote it down and she looked really confused. It's sort of weird that the waitress wouldn't know that was one of the 6 options. I mean, I didn't know if I was saying chorizo right. But, I think you could still work out what I meant if it wasn't right. And then I said, can I have a lager? And she went, lager? Yeah, lager. I just wonder whether, like, Sam Beckett had just leaked into it and that was what it was generally like. I mean, if I was given a job in a pizza restaurant, and I think I could have worked out. She got the orders, they came, they tasted of soap, though, so, I don't know what's going on. Look, we'll crack straight on. So my guest this week, she's probably best known for being in the pilot episode on Sky TV of Street Cred Sudoku. I don't know how to say that. Sudoku. Will you please welcome Zoe Lyons, ladies and gentlemen? Zoe Lyons. Come in, sit down, make yourself at home. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
Do you remember much about the pilot episode?
Street Cred Sudoku. Completely forgotten that.
Have you?
It was yeah.
It's on your website. It's not on your IMDb page.
It's on my website.
Yeah.
Jesus, I've got to go and edit
You were
that.
very proud of it when it
God,
came
I've
up.
probably got one egg and spoon race at primary school as well. There was a period of time when I didn't have many credits, so everything just went up there. Yeah, I'll take that off. Thanks, Richard.
Yeah, okay.
That's embarrassing. Yeah.
Good. I prefer Kakurus. The Sudokus. But I wouldn't
can't
make
do
a game
Kaku.
show based on either format, I have to say. I think it's probably weak. Yes, welcome to the show. Maybe I did know this about you, but you first rose to prominence as a contestant on the TV show Survivor.
Yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
That's a little bit really embarrassing credit. 2001, I think, and won. Yeah, 2001. It was, I was really bored. I was I was a waitress at the time, right, trying to get acting work, failing miserably because I wasn't a great actress, and I was
Did you, when people ordered stuff, did you know what they were talking about?
I did, I wasn't that bad. I was pretty good. Wait,
Okay.
I'm just not very dexterous. I have spilt quite a lot of jus and gravies down quite famous people's backs. Yeah, because I used to work in a restaurant where quite a lot of famous people came in, and like properly famous, not sort of made in Essex sort of famous, like properly, like Lucian Freud famous, properly famous.
That's good.
And I served Helen Mirren once. She left her glasses on the table and had to run down the street after her shouting, "Dee Mirren! Dee Mirren! Dee Mirren!" And she completely ignored me, and in the end, she went, "Oi, Helen! Respect, love!" She was like, "Oh, thanks very much." So yes, I was really bored one day at work, and I saw an advert in a newspaper for a reality TV show, which was a new thing in that time. It was a thing. It was like, "What is this reality? This will never catch on." And it was for this show Survivor, and I had an American friend who'd seen it in the States, and she went, "You should do that." I went, "Why? You'd be good at that." I went, "Why am I good at that?" She went, "Just give it a go." So I sent off an application.
Yeah.
And then they sent something back, and there was another process, and I began to think, I think I could get this. I might be able to get this. And it was they'd had Big Brother. Big Brother had already come out, so we were beginning to see the sort of types of people that they wanted on those sort of shows. So I hammed up the gay bit a bit, because I went, they'll need a gay. So that's not genuinely what I thought. So I I basically filled out my application, but a bit gay, and then I got an interview, and because it was a filmed interview, I did quite well. And then before I knew it, was like I was on a plane to Borneo, and I was like, shit, this was just a bit of a bet with myself. And I'd really lied about my level of fitness as well. And they were super fit, most of the people, like properly sort of like extreme athletes and that sort. I mean, there was a couple of people like me, but I'd really lied about it, and it was really hard work. I nearly died within the first 30 seconds of the show being filmed, because I'm really cack-handed. I've got no sense of balance. I'm all over the place, and we had to jump off this big boat onto a raft to paddle ashore to this island. I missed it completely. Went between the raft and the boat, and then the raft sort of, with the water sort of doing this, trapped me at my neck like that between this boat and a raft. I was like, oh God, I'm going to die in the first 30 seconds of a reality TV show. was a harrowing moment. I nearly died a couple of times doing it, actually. I got bitten by... where we were filming it has the highest density of sea snakes in the world. And sea snakes are one of the most venomous reptiles on the planet. The good thing about them is they have very small fangs and they're quite far back in their mouth, so it is actually quite difficult for them to bite you.
Right,
but
you have to put your head in there.
Yeah, yeah. But there's tons of them. There was tons of them. And at one point we were filming, bringing this fishing net in, right? And there was a cameraman right there in front of me, and this thing came out of the fishing net and went boom, boom, and bit me twice on the wrist and left 2 perfect bleeding fang marks. And I think I can safely say I properly shat myself with fear. Like, properly shat myself. And the whole facade went... And the cameraman's still filming this. And I went, put the fucking gun! Put the fucking gun! I can't fucking want it in my fucking gun! I went mentally... I was like... Wah! And for about 15 minutes, I thought I'd been bitten by a sea snake. Right. And then they sent the diver back in. It turned out to be an eel. But... But there was a minute though where I thought I was going to die.
Yeah.
It was, yeah. Which it's weird what goes through your head. There's not a lot. Sort of white noise and yeah.
Your life flashed before
Very
your eyes.
little.
There was just nothing there.
Not a lot.
Oh, I've done nothing.
No, not a lot there. And it was quite. They had 2 medics on the island, and obviously neither of them had encountered a snake bite or a potential snake bite before, and they were arguing with each other about what to do if you're bitten on your wrist by a snake. One was going, "Keep it above your heart," and the other was going, "No, keep it below your heart." And they're going, "No, keep it above your heart," and the other was going, "No, below your heart." So I thought, I'm effectively, if I have been bitten by a venomous animal, I'm now just pumping it around my body. I found out later, below your heart.
Below your heart.
If you're ever bitten by a sea snake in the Borneo area, or on the wrist, keep it below your heart.
Did you win Survivor?
No, I didn't do badly though, because I was really, really shit at most things, and I managed to hang on for quite a long time. So they started off with 16, and I got down to the last 6.
Okay, that's not bad.
And there was £1 million. Yes, I know, it's £1 million. Yeah. I started,
Did you get anything for coming 6th?
I got wood termites buried in my backside. Genuinely true. Yeah, I got wood termites, but it was Borneo. It's full of.
That wasn't the prize, right? That
No.
was just that way. I quite like that. The first prize is $1 million.
Second prize, wood termites buried in your backside that you have to get out by rubbing petrol into your arse.
Do you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Great diet though. I looked amazing for a few months. Really amazing.
I think maybe I should go on Survivor. Are they still doing it?
No,
No.
not here.
No.
It's quite fun. It didn't really do well in this country because we prefer watching people slag each other off in a house, and the Americans and the Australians prefer seeing people do stuff that's got a bit of endeavour to it. Yeah.
I like the Channel 4. Is it called Shipwrecked? Was it like Shipwrecked?
Yeah.
Remember that one?
Was that? Where
I
was
like
that
that.
one? Yeah.
Well, it's mainly because it was like young people in bikinis stranded on an island.
You've been very disappointed in my bikini look. After a month. It's because it gets quite wild. You know, I look like shit. I look like I looked like I'd been on a desert island for a month. There was fur everywhere, full beard, wood termites buried in my arsehole. It really wasn't Love Island. It really wasn't.
There's a sitcom in that, though, isn't there?
Yeah.
A woman with wood termites in her anus. How she gets around. Good. So you moved around a lot. You were born in Wales, but you grew up in Ireland and Glasgow. You were
Ireland,
university.
and then Surrey, and then Glasgow.
What was the reason for the moves? I couldn't work that out.
Well, my dad's Irish, my mum was English, and he was working in Wales when I was born, and then he took another job back in Ireland, so I went to school in Ireland. I got the old Irish passport, which I'm most grateful for. Post Brexit. I was brought up in Ireland, taught by nuns. This is what you get. And we moved back to England when I was about 9 years old. We moved to Surrey, and then from Surrey, then my mum and dad split up, and my stepfather's Scottish, so he got transferred back to Glasgow. So I ended up in Glasgow.
Right, it's a little tour of the United Kingdom.
Yeah, my accent's been all over the place because now I sound like I'm from the north. but I'm not. But it's just sort of gravitated somewhere central. It's like, oh, fuck this, we can't keep up with you. Where are we going? Because I had a really strong Irish accent until I was about 9, and then it became Surrey, and then a bit of Glasgow, and now it's just kind of got, oh, fuck it. But it's quite handy for comedy, because I can northern it up a bit or southern it up a bit, depending on where I am. Yes. And I shamelessly use it to ingratiate myself on crowds around the country. Yeah, I really do. First time I played Manchester Comedy Store, I was like, oh yeah, you're right, lovely. Oh, Ecky thump. You know, because you know what it's like.
That's what I'm very much like. I can do that. And I think you were talking to Stuart Goldsmith about your childhood, and I think because you've just done a show called Misfit. That's finished now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just finished.
But that was about. Was the show partly about your childhood?
About being a bit of a misfit and sort of moving, growing up in different places and being, a gay kid at school. A gay kid at school with alopecia. So a balding homo. Yeah, I know. A homo with a comb over. That's yeah.
Because you seem like I've only known you, more recently. I've probably met you in about 2004, 2005 on the circuit, I guess. And you've always seemed kind of incredibly cool to me.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Really?
You've got like tattoos. You live in Brighton.
God. In Brighton, you've got to get one of those to live in Brighton. Now, if you don't have a skateboard or a tattoo, you can't come in.
You're not allowed.
No, and we've become very strict about this now that we've got the Republic of Brighton and Hove, we are the only Labour and Green MPs on the south coast. So yeah, there's a checking system as you come in now. You've either got to have a scooter, a skateboard, or a tattoo.
Right.
Yeah. And that's that. Yeah.
But you didn't consider yourself cool at school.
God, no.
You said you were called the Freak.
I was called the Freak. That was my nickname at school, the Freak. But I was a bit weird. I was a bit weird. Yeah.
Would that be in Glasgow?
That was in Glasgow. Yeah.
And so you were kind of English in Glasgow.
I had an English accent by that point, and then moved to Glasgow. I know.
Did not make it easy on yourself.
No.
And so how did the comedy? So you were trying to be an actor. First of all, you went to the poor school.
Yeah, I went to university. Well, after school, I went to university, and at university, I just spent loads of time doing plays or trying to do. I tried to do plays. I was usually the sort of club-footed maid. That was the role I was given.
Right.
And I spent a lot of time making props for plays, wanting to be in the plays, and then I got the lead role in a Brian Friel play, Dancing at Leicester, which was amazing. I played Maggie, one of the sisters in that. Cool. And that was amazing. So then I decided I wanted to go to drama school after uni, and did that for a couple of years. And then, it's really hard. It's really hard getting work as an actor. Yeah. And I did a bit of fringy stuff. And then I just started watching more and more stand-up, and I thought, you can actually do that for yourself. You're not waiting for somebody else to give you permission to do that. Yeah, Somebody's not going to go, your face in that role, off you pop. So I started to watch more and more open mic stand-up. And, some of it was good, and some of it was so bad. I just thought, I could be that bad. I could, if that's how low the bar, I can definitely hit that low bar. And I just watched loads of stuff and made notes to myself what to do, what not to do.
Yeah.
I had a list like, don't look at your watch, that looks really unprofessional. I would totally do that all the time now. I'm like, fuck, are we still going? Oh, Christ almighty. I booked myself in to do a 5-minute spot at the King's Head in Crouch End. And went along and did it, and that was it. That was literally it. Then I had another gig the next week and another gig next week, and I just kept doing it.
And you won an award you won the Funny Women, must have been quite early. Was that quite early?
A few months in. Yeah. So with really shit material. But I had the confidence of something. When you watch a drunk crossing the road and they don't care. They don't care. Like, in between lorries, I'm like, whoa! That was me doing my first gigs like that. There was absolutely no substance to it. The material was horrific, but I had that blind drunk confidence of. I wasn't drunk. I don't drink on stage because I know. I made that decision very early on because I thought if that becomes a habit, it's going to get very expensive. So
it's difficult though, isn't it? Because you are like that as a comedian. You are working in pubs basically all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
And so or bars, and people will give you drinks after the. I mean, it's all right if it's after the show, I guess.
After the show,
People are encouraging you to drink. And
yeah, you can't do it.
No.
Yeah, you see, I know some comics can mix the booze and the humour, but I can't. It just all goes.
Yeah.
The timing goes, everything goes. I did it once. I did that thing where we went out, because doing this job, sometimes it's easy to forget sometimes it is a job, isn't it?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
You know. And it was a really lovely afternoon in Brighton, and the wife and I went for a stroll, and we ended up having a lunch by the seaside. And we said, would you like a glass of wine? I went, well, I'm working late, I really shouldn't have a glass of wine. Come on, a little glass of wine. And we were two glasses of, having a couple of glasses of wine. And I said, well, if we're getting glasses, we might as well get a bottle. It's silly to get a couple of glasses, but even if they're larger glasses, you're leaving essentially one glass of wine on its own in the bottle, and that's going to be lonely. So just, for the wine's sake, we should really just consume it all at once. And one thing led to another, and it was a beautifully sunny afternoon. 3 bottles of wine later, I was like, I've got to go and do a gig, and it was awful. It was. I think I got away with it, but inside I was like, I will never, ever do this again.
I think it just throws you off. I mean, it's like if you're having a lovely gig, it can be okay, but if the minute anything goes wrong, you have to deal with anything.
You have to think outside of what you've really got set in your head.
Well, because the beauty is usually you're the sober person in the room and everyone else is pretty drunk, so if anyone chips in, you're at a massive advantage over them.
I don't know what I'd have done, started a fight or something, come on then, take it outside, I'll fucking have you, I'll have you. Yeah.
But Jason Cook used to do at the Frog and Bucket used to do a late night gig where you would have to be hammered to go on. I can't remember what they called it.
Oh, really?
So I went up there one year and did my show, and then they had a late night show after my show. Yeah. In which they plied me with tequila shots and beer.
And then made you do your...
And then I did, but it was so... I mean, I was really properly fully pissed. Yeah. And it was quite exciting because you just start coming up with really strange stuff. And people were shouting stuff, and then you were ad-libbing stuff. I started ad-libbing stuff about the Bible, and it was all quite factually correct as well. It was quite... And it was... I can't remember what it was because I was drunk, so I don't remember it the next day. But it was quite impressive. But then I was also just... There were some girls in the front who were being a bit chippy, but I was just... incredibly inappropriately rude to them, even by my own standards. Just too rude about their physical appearance. In a way that you only got away with because they knew, and they were there was tequila was appearing on the stage as you were going, so everyone knew what the score was.
That's all right as long as everybody knows what it's got, isn't it? There's so many of those gigs now up in Edinburgh that's got a sort of theme to them, haven't they? A sort of slight tilt on what's going on. It's like you come on, you do your set, but you don't quite do your set. You rap your set, or you rap somebody else's set. And you're like, do I have to?
It's a lot. The thing I remember from the early days of when I saw you, which I did get with you a few times early on, was you did a very good impression of Cherie Blair. That was, which must be now. You probably don't do that anymore, I'm guessing.
It's still there.
Is it still there?
That won't come across on the podcast.
Some of it, the film people.
It is. I've got a funny face. It's a sort of. And I used to do that thing when I first started, going, and you go, I know what you think I look like. You know what you do. Yeah. But mine was a cross between Mr. Bean and Myra Hindley, and it used to get quite a bit loud. And if you do look, they very much feature in my features.
That's classy though. It's
classy.
That's a classy version of that.
I used to have a stupid joke. I'm very good at children's parties. I'm fun but firm.
Takes a lot to shock the Leicester podcast audience.
I think I've managed it.
But you've done it. It's very early on. That's good. But we'll push them further. Don't you worry. I'll move to an emergency question because we're in emergency now. I marked some out and now I can't find them. Here we go. This is the one that I really want to ask you. This is the first one I've come across. If you had to be anally violated by a popular chocolate bar, if you had to, which chocolate bar would you choose to be inserted in your anus?
Well, I don't think I'd be shy if I was going for it, so it would have to be the full four-finger Twix. I mean, if you're going to do it, do it. Don't go for a flake. Nobody will enjoy that. It doesn't have the consistency to do the job properly. I'd go for the full, or even a chunky.
Yeah.
Chunky Kit Kat.
Chunky Kit Kat. The next question is, after you have been anally violated by the chocolate bar, who would you like to then eat the chocolate bar, not knowing where it had been, whilst you secretly watched them?
Well, that's a double-edged sword question, isn't it? Because you're going to have to get rather intimate with somebody you might not like. Well, you wouldn't like. So... But it's your arsehole. So at the moment, probably somebody like Michael Gove. Because he looks like he's already done that. Anyway, he's got that sort of face, like, oh, sorry, I've just come away from anally munching some chocolate. He's got that look, he's got a face that looks like he'd be well adapted to that.
He's got a face that looks like he's eaten a lot of chocolate bars. Yeah, definitely. Although, I think he would like it. I can't believe he's back.
I know, God, it's incredible.
I had a chance to kill him.
Did you?
Well, I had a couple of chances to kill him, but I saw him. He was just walking around the Westfield before Brexit, on his own with his kids, and I had a bottle of beer, and I could have smashed it and and there was no security detail. I don't know. I can't work out if it'd been worth being in prison for 30 years.
No, I
mean,
mean,
spared us from that.
I don't know. I mean, what is he now? Environment Secretary or something?
Yeah, he's Environment Secretary. Well, as we record, he's the Environment Secretary. Anything could have happened by the 12th of July when this goes out.
By the 12th of July. God, is that some big date in the DUP calendar as well? That
it
sounds
is.
Yeah. So we'll be marching, there'll be little whistles, it'll be lovely.
I like things. So my favourite colour's orange, and I love bowler hats and marching. So I like deliberately marching through an area where people don't like me. That's what I like. And where that is offensive to them. So, so it's perfect for me.
They're so homophobic, the DUP, but then I wonder what they think about oranges aren't the only fruit. That was really conflicting. They're like, no, they're not. Yes, they no, they're. Yes, they oh, I don't know how I feel about this. I'm going to have to anally protrude something up 4 fingers of chocolate. There you go. It's a strange old world, isn't it? It's a strange old world.
Very, very strange at the moment. I'll ask you another emergency question. What swear word would you like repeatedly shouted by a drunk man at your funeral? Oh. The drunk man is turning up regardless and is going to shout something, so you might as well choose.
Mum, I quite like fuck knuckle.
Yeah.
Fuck knuckle. My mum uses it every now and again. Oh, just a complete fuck knuckle. And it's funny when a woman in her 70s says it. It really is. It's quite a meaty swear word, isn't it? It's fuck knuckle. So yes, fuck knuckle.
Good, yeah.
Fuck knuckle. And I think it's one of those words. If you said it over and over again, it would lose any sort of meaning, and then it become quite sort of rhythmic and almost sort of yogic. Fuck knuckle. Fuck knuckle.
Almost like a hymn of some kind to
sort
celebrate your life.
Meditative state. Yeah.
Good. You've married a Dutch woman, according to Wikipedia. That's what it says. You've married a Dutch. Wikipedia says you married a Dutch woman. Do you think Dutch people should be allowed to get married? I don't mind them getting together, but I just don't know whether they should be recognised.
The Dutch Union.
Yeah.
I think they should marry out of Holland.
Yes.
I don't agree with same nationality marriages for the Dutch people. I think that's abhorrent and slightly disgusting.
Okay.
And the thing is with Dutch people, they've got quite a concentrated character to them. They're very... they're really blunt and to the point, Dutch people. So I think that needs to be diluted with maybe marrying somebody from perhaps Southern Europe or a Brit. But 2 of them together, wow. Yeah, too much. You ask a Dutch person what they're thinking, they will tell you, and it's quite harsh. It is quite harsh. You've put on weight. I don't like your hair. Why are you fat? Something smells funny. You're like, oh my God! It's like being with a sort of a child at times.
Well, my wife she's a quarter Norwegian or something. My wife.
Okay.
Or something.
Yeah.
I didn't really bother. I've asked her stuff, but it's boring trying to remember it, isn't it? But she's very blunt. Yesterday I cooked a roast roast lunch for all my. It was Father's Day, but I did
got to cook the dinner.
I did all the cooking because that's It's sort of a reverse world, isn't it? What I like when I do a roast is to roast garlic. I really like roast garlic.
Yeah.
But no one else likes it. So at lunchtime, I ate an entire, probably two bulbs of roast garlic.
Wow.
Now, when I did a gig and it was quite sweaty, and then I came back to bed, and my wife went, there's something. So have you been like sprayed with something on the tube?
Oh, God.
I had to go and have a shower and she was real
sweating.
because she's pregnant, so like all smells are heightened. So it was even worse for her. But I've been sweating garlic. So if I'm still sweating garlic, I apologise.
I'm not getting it off you now.
But it was so bad she thought there'd been an industrial accident of some kind, or some kind of chemical attack on the tube. So she's quite blunt as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've really had to train my wife how not to get punched in public. Like saying, it's fascinating. But then I've learned from her because, as Brits, I'm really sort of overly apologetic and have to. And it dawned on me the other day, if I was ever in any sort of life-threatening situation, like a boat going down or something like that, you'd want to be with my wife because not only would you get on that lifeboat, there'd just be the two of you there. Like, you'd be there going, fuck off, our lifeboats, get off our lifeboats, get off. I mean, she's so, she's forthright. I quite like that.
Yeah, it's good.
That's what I look for in a lady. That and their broad shoulders.
Have you been together for 16, 20 something?
19
years.
years.
Yeah.
Wow. 19 years, yeah. It's a long time, isn't it?
It is. I've done like 9 with my wife.
9?
Yeah.
Yeah, you hit a sort of point around about 10 and then you're like, you might as well just carry on now. I mean, so many things in your name. I wouldn't know where the electricity bills are. It becomes more of an administration horror than anything else, I don't know who pays the water bills or what's going on. So to extract yourself from that level of admin.
It's interesting. I'm only staying in the relationships because I'm almost certain to die first.
Yeah.
And my wife doesn't appreciate how much stuff I do.
Yeah.
And once I'm dead, she'll find out how much stuff I do.
Oh, really?
And then she'll appreciate me. So I'm staying. She just thinks I don't do anything, but when she's dead, she's going to find out how much stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'm a duck floating on the water and the legs are going underneath. It's an amazing amount I contribute to that.
So much low-level admin going on.
Amazing stuff I do.
Yeah.
She's not going to be able to cope without me, and that delights me.
Yeah.
So I'm staying in the relationship. And I'm definitely going to die first. So.
Is she much younger than you?
She's 13 years younger than me.
See, my wife is 14 years older than me.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, so she's a good 36 now. And, so she's older than me. But it does make you think differently. You think, she's maybe healthier than me. I don't know. But, you've got to... I found myself saying to her, we've got to do this while you're still alive, love. Like booking holidays. I'm like, well, why not? Because we don't really know how long... there's only an imagined future.
We've just bought a puppy because we're moving to the countryside because I'm 50.
Yeah.
And it's the first pet I've had that I thought, there's actually a good chance you will outlive me.
What sort of puppy?
It's half a German Shepherd, half a Husky.
Oh, that's robust. Yeah. Yeah, that will probably
that'll last 5 years.
Yeah.
And outlive you, Richard. Yeah.
Can't worry about
yes, that's exciting. You used to work in a jam factory. I would like to know all about that.
That sounds like such a horrific euphemism, doesn't it? We didn't actually make jam in the factory.
What?
We packed jam. I know.
Oh, come off it.
We packed jam in Glasgow in the summer holidays. I worked in a packing factory that packed jam, and it was brilliant actually because it was all women who worked there, and it was sort of think the Tetley Tea boys with the hats and the coats. Yeah. Imagine that, but Glaswegian women. That's cool. They all had the little coats on, the nets on their head, and just the funniest, brilliant people.
Yeah.
Just basically stood 8 hours a day packing jams into.
How do you pack jam it out? Is there a machine that you have to operate, or do you just
No, because we were putting
in?
together things like hampers and that sort of thing.
Okay,
so it wasn't just jam.
You weren't even putting the jam in the
wasn't
jars.
No,
the jarred jam would turn up and you would put it in stuff.
And then
that is not
I
a job.
also worked. Did a lot of fudge packing.
Fudge packing.
Because they sold fudge as well, and you'd have to pack that into boxes, so I'd spend a whole day fudge packing. I ate a lot of fudge. Yeah, it was a great job. I was 16.
Yeah.
I was 16. I was getting like 200 quid a week, which is pretty good. You know. Yeah, it was great. I really enjoyed it, and you know, I miss camaraderie of working with other people because this is such an isolating, lonely job at times.
It can be, yeah.
Yeah.
I think especially when you start doing your own tours and you're off on your own.
Oh God, you're on your own. Yeah. Because when I tour. I mean, I don't have support, and I very rarely have support, and there's certainly no tour manager or any of that thing, so you're on your own the whole day. So sometimes the first proper conversation you've had is on stage.
Yeah.
And you're like, you know, it's hot, isn't it? How are the kids? So, yeah, I miss the camaraderie of workplace.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll go back. It's a
to Jam
very
Factory.
strong possibility that I will go back to jam packing. I wouldn't have a problem with that.
No.
I've always said, when I've had enough of this, I'll just stop. I will not Ken Dodd the shit out of this.
Right.
There's no way. There is no way I'll be doing this at 80. Absolutely no way. There'll be one day where I go, that's the last gig I'll ever do, and then I'll stop and I'll go back to packing jam. And it'll all be like a dream.
See, that's interesting. I think most comics would feel they wanted to carry on for as long as they could carry on. What's your cut-off point?
There's a very, very thin line between showbiz and tragedy. Isn't it?
Yeah.
And, you know, I skate it. I'm teetering on it most of the time, you know, when I'm turning up to do my short tour show. They go, we'll make it look busy, don't worry. We've put the tables out so that the tables take up quite a lot of space. So you're constantly teetering on that sort of thin line between tragedy and showbiz. And I think there will come a tipping point where one day I'll go, no. So when you see people who've been working on cruise ships for a long time, and just that sadness in their leathery faces.
I think if you still Ken Dodd isn't maybe not a great example because he still packs people into
He packs them in, but he keeps them there for days.
He does, yeah.
I mean, they don't all make it out because they're quite old. A lot of his audience, you know, so you're not all going to make it to the end of the 4-hour show. But I admire people like that, but it's just not in me.
Yeah.
It's just not in me.
I think it's interesting. I can't remember which comic it was, but there was a comic from like the generation before mine who was talking about that. Once you get into your 50s and 60s and you're doing all the driving around, and you're still playing to 20 or 30 people.
Yeah.
And I think they nearly had a car crash or something, and they just thought, this isn't worth doing this, you know.
Yeah.
And they were quite a big name. I can't remember who it was, but you know, they didn't. There is a tragedy, I suppose, if you just keep pushing it and you're not accepting it.
But life's short as well, and I think you should be able to do other stuff.
Yeah.
You know, you try other stuff as well. Who knows? There could be, maybe, I don't know, you know, maybe I want to be an accountant. I don't know. I say this because I had a bit of an epiphany the other day, because for all of my life I've ordered lattes. And a couple of weeks ago I thought, no, so break the mould, life's short. And I ordered a flat white. And you know what? I really, really like flat whites. And I'd never knew I liked flat whites. And I denied myself flat whites for all of that time. 25 years I've been drinking lattes, and it turns out I actually prefer a flat white. And I think life's like that. You think, well, maybe there's a husband and kids out there for me somewhere. Maybe if I could be that wrong about a mixture of milk and coffee, maybe I can be really wrong about a lot of other really important stuff. You just don't know. Yeah. I'd like to be a forest ranger.
Would you?
Yep. I really would. A big
Out of all
pair
the rangers?
Forest ranger.
Yeah, it has to be a forest
ranger, not the Lone Ranger. Again, isolated.
I think a forest ranger is probably pretty isolated.
No, you go back to the headquarters and have a cup of tea. The ranger station.
With all the other rangers.
Yeah, and talk about stuff, and you get a nice big pair of utility shorts with big pockets on the side. I'd like that. And then the use of the Forest Ranger Range Rover, the sort of Land Rover Discovery that's now not being made anymore, but they'll still keep going for ages now. It's such a reliable 4x4. Fix fences, spot deer. That'd be lovely. That'd be really nice.
Yeah.
I'd really like that.
Get picnic baskets off of bears and give them back to people. That sort of thing. Would it be in whereabouts would the forest be that you're ranging?
If there's bears involved now, we've had to go abroad. So this ambition has risen somewhat. Yes, I mean abroad would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not. My brother lives in Alaska. And,
oh my God.
Yeah, which is proper abroad.
Yeah.
And I was there. I was there in December, and it's an amazing place. I mean, it's properly Republican. Like,
yes.
Yeah, it's proper. It's the place. It's the sort of place where even the bears carry arms. Yeah. I don't know whether they've misread the Constitution. But it's properly. Yeah. And you can drive for days and not see anybody. You drive in Alaska and you can see nothing for hours and hours and hours. And then you'll come across this like wild saloon bar in the middle of nowhere, and it'll have a sign outside that says "Girls, girls, girls." And you just think, where have they come from? Where have the girls come from? I haven't passed a car for 3 hours. What are they? Just beavers with bigger nipples? I don't know. But I think I'd be quite happy living out there, listening to John Denver CDs and kicking about in the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You travel a lot as a comedian now, and you're one of those comedians who does that. So you've been to the Australian circuit.
Yeah.
You do quite a lot. There's quite a lot of gigs around the world that you can do if
Yeah.
you follow that circuit.
Yeah, I've just come back from New Zealand.
Yeah.
That was nice. I won't go again. It's too far. It's too far.
I've never been to New Zealand. I've been
Haven't
to
you?
Australia a few
Yeah.
times. I'd quite like to go back, but it is too far.
It's a long way.
I need more people to like me in Australia.
Yeah, it's a long.
I mean, some people do like me in Australia, but more probably than they did 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
You do find yourself sort of turning up and you think, going, why have I come all this way? I could have got this smaller crowd in Cumbria. Travel for 26 hours in economy. Yeah.
It's a long way away.
It's a very long way away.
And then very nice, and I enjoyed being out there. But I think it's again, I think your life changes as well, doesn't it? I mean, now it just I mean, before my kids get to I have to go to school. I guess is probably the time to do it, so you can travel out as a family and.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just sort of feel like I'll go to Australia for 6 weeks to earn no money, and then
come
back and go, oh shit, we have to just move out the house now, give it back to the bank.
I've done some fun things in Australia though. I did the Melbourne comedy Roadshow.
Oh yeah, I was going to ask about that.
So that's where they drive you all around. You do various states, and I did Western Australia on one of the runs, and it was brilliant because we were performing in towns where we, as the comedians, were the only sort of people not working in the mine. We were the only non-miners because there's huge mineral mines out in Western Australia. And there's, sod all else there. And I'm turning up going, oh, God, they're going to hate me. They're going to really hate me. This is a long way to come to die on your arse. That's the other thing you're thinking, isn't it? Yeah, I've travelled for 36 hours just to be shouted at and die on my arse. And they were so sweet and so welcoming. They were brilliant. Yeah. They were absolutely brilliant. I loved it. But yeah, you're performing in some quite strange places. Yeah. And
Australia, as you get into the middle, becomes kind of weird and unsettling.
The politics in Australia is quite... It's like the States. You stay around. If you can see the sea, you're going to have a decent conversation with somebody. If you can't see the sea, strap in, because 3 seconds into the conversation, it's going to go places you didn't want it to go. Because driving around Australia, you see a land full of immigrants, just literally third-generation immigrants, apart from the Arab originals, it's third-generation immigrants going, we don't want immigrants here! And you're like, you're all immigrants, you're Greek, you are Greek, and see those bumper stickers that you see in Australia, back off, we're full, and you go, I've had a look, there's loads of space, there is literally tons of space. You've got a lot of space, so, yeah.
Well, we might talk about that more with Brendan and Craig, who'll be on in a few weeks. I think that might be something we were talking about. But cool. You mentioned somewhere in an interview about the being on the Alan Titchmarsh show, and there wasn't very much details about it. But you want to talk about tattoos on the Alan Titchmarsh show? Is that
God, sometimes your agent phones you up and goes, "Will you do this? It's blah 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 pounds," and you go, "Oh, I need blah 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 pounds." But you haven't really listened to the first bit of the sentence. All you've heard is blah, 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 pounds. You're like, no, you need blah, 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 pounds. And I got to go on the Alan Titchmarsh show, which is recorded in front of a live studio audience, and I use that word so loosely. And they were doing tattoos. They were doing a thing about etiquette and tattoos. And they had this prat on with a floppy hair and and a blazer, who was an etiquette expert,
Right, yeah.
and just a complete and utter wanker. The sort of person you'd never tire of slapping. He just so stuck up. And he was only about 22, 23, you know what I mean? Just like that, I think tattoos makes a human look like a human toilet wall. I was just sat there going, I bet you've seen a lot of toilet walls. Head flushed down the toilet when you were a school kid. So it was a really awkward, it didn't go anywhere. We were just talking about tattoo. It was Alan Titchmarsh show. I was like, oh, I didn't need blah 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 pounds this much. I've been humiliated in front of a half-dead audience. It's gonna be, and as I left the stage, it was just this pointless thing where you just go, oh God. Sometimes you do things on telly that it's so shameful. You just feel like you've crapped yourself in front of a room full of people. You're like, oh, don't look at me. I've soiled myself. And as I left the stage, the next act on was a disabled dog. He had back wheels for legs. And they loved him. They fucking loved him. And they gave me something. I thought, I've been upstaged by a disabled dog on wheels for blah, blah, blah pounds. And it was horrible. It was a really horrible experience.
He doesn't do that show anymore. It was an odd choice, Alan Titchmarsh. He was a gardener, wasn't he?
He's a gardener and a novelist.
Yeah. And
just a bit judgy. And you could tell he was siding with the bloke who didn't like tattoos. And I can't even remember what I said at one point. I can't. It was that horror of realising you're inside something. Like you're in a really bad thing, but you're being filmed doing it and you can't get out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's that look on your face. Good.
But in a way, the amazing thing about TV now is it's so disposable that most things, you know. I've done some embarrassing things that I don't think anyone has seen.
Yeah.
And I got blah 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 pounds for them as well.
Yeah.
And I think, oh good, that was all right actually. I'm happy. Has anyone seen it yet? Best Man Speech. Has anyone ever seen me in that show? Oh, one person. Sorry.
What was that
It was
show?
good, wasn't it?
You found the one Dutch person in. No, it was very poor.
It was good pay for 3 days' work, is all you can say about it. I thought it was quite a good idea for a show.
What was the show?
It was good, but it was on ITV3 or something.
God.
Like at the time when that was really new. And they pitched it saying the idea is, you know, you take someone who's going to be a best man at a wedding and you teach them how to do a good speech.
Right. Yeah.
As a comedian, I thought that could be quite an interesting show, you know, because people are always emailing. I don't think you get that, but people always email me saying, "Well, I don't know what to do. I've got a one joke that will work. Actually, probably only in a heterosexual marriage. It might work in both. But this is the joke I always send. So don't email me. This is the joke. You say, I hope any children that come from this union will have the looks of their mother and the brains of their mother. That's your joke. That's the joke. That's guaranteed.
It's a good
fantastic joke for a wedding. So I thought it'd be a bit like that, but it was just like doing loads of fucking stupid stunts. Like I had to stand on a balcony while the guy pretended he'd broken both his arms and tried to get passers-by to help him use his mobile phone.
Why were you on a balcony?
To help him with his best man speech. Oh, well, I was watching it so that he didn't know. So I think I could talk to him and give him.
Yeah.
No. Do something else. Ask them to help you with the phone.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's it. And they were nice. I think I did it. Maybe it was just one guy. I can't remember now. But the guy was a nice guy that I remember, or two guys. But it was a shame because they just sort of turned it into sort of stupid something. And on the first day, Dave Gorman was also nearly going to do it. And he was umming and ahhing, saying, I'm not sure is it going to be any good. On the first day, the first thing we did was all right. And I rang him and said, it's all right, Dave, I think it's going to be okay. Yeah. So he signed up to do it as well on that. And then, like this afternoon, I went, no. And it was too late. He was already doing it. So he never quite forgave me for that, I don't think. But no one ever, that woman saw it. And she liked it, really. She's just saying she didn't like it now. It was pretty bad, wasn't it? We had to go to an old folks' home to do jokes in an old folks' home.
Oh, God.
And none of the things that would help you. What you want is a comedian to sit down and go, here's what you do.
Yeah.
Think about it. Because it's actually quite easy doing a best man speech, or like any of those speeches, I think. You just have to tell a few. I've seen some terrible wedding speeches, right?
Yeah.
From people who don't seem to know their family members or their friends very well.
Or just go way too inappropriate too early on.
Or just print something off the internet and think
Yeah.
I'll just read a load of jokes off the internet, and that's not the way. We just tell 2 stories about the person that are a little
brothel
bit
related.
Yeah. They're a little bit funny. Them doing something a bit embarrassing, or them
Yeah.
doing something, and it's quite easy. And then say something nice.
Yeah, and keep it short.
And keep it short and
Keep
fuck
it,
off.
Yeah, 5 minutes
Yeah.
max.
Yeah.
Less is more.
Though, having said that, when I didn't prepare for my wedding speech.
You didn't. You probably podcasted though, didn't you? Some money to be made out of this, surely.
I was quite drunk and I hadn't really. I kind of had a couple of ideas, but I hadn't done enough.
Yeah.
Luckily, at my wedding, they had like table arrangements with like little different things.
Yeah.
And so they had some mints and they had some lip balm. And just before I did which is quite weird, but just before I did my speech, my mum leant over and said, "Your dad's just eaten the lip balm." He thought that it was cheese. So he'd spread it on a biscuit. I go,
Who's bought cheese?
what? Yeah, why is it in a tiny little pot?
This is expensive, Camembert.
And then, didn't you realise when you were eating it that it wasn't cheese?
Minty cheese.
So I just laughed at my dad for 3 minutes.
That's enough, isn't it? Yeah, that's enough.
It was a week. I was weak, so I wasn't the person to ask. Anyway, let's move on. You studied psychology at York University.
Yeah.
Can you do me now?
No, I really didn't attend an awful lot of lectures. I was interested. I went to York because it had a good psychology course and it also had a really pretty prospectus.
Yeah.
I can't even say the word. Prospectus.
York was one of my choices. I wanted to. I was born near York. So,
were you?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
but then we moved away. So I was really keen to go. But I really love York.
Yeah, because I was still at school in Glasgow and I was quite keen to move quite far away.
Yeah.
So I ended up in York. It wasn't. Yeah. It was a bit square, York Uni.
Was it? Yeah.
It was a bit square. I wish I'd gone to Manchester or Leeds, something like that. I used to go through to Manchester and Leeds for music gigs.
Yes.
York, yeah. But I did psychology because I thought I wanted to do that, and then I sort of, as you learn it, you go, oh, this is what it's about, is it? Blindfold a pigeon, get it to walk around a maze. No. But as I get older and doing it, I'm fascinated by human behaviour. I mean, that's that aspect of it I really like. I love watching people. I love watching people misunderstand each other. I love how, when you see those little things happening, and you just go, oh, that'll lead to an argument. Oh, he thought he said that. Oh dear God, here we go. And then there it is, lovely. So I'm quite interested in human behaviour. But
I sort of think, by the time I got to university, I was, I'd been quite a swot, but I sort of rebelled and didn't want to do any studying. And didn't do any. I really studied nothing at all. And I kind of, I'd quite like to go back now. You should defer it till you're 50 and then go back and learn some stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't ready to go.
No.
I had other questions in my mind about who I was and where I wanted to be. I mean, I wasn't terribly academic, and I got distracted by everything. I joined the Pothole Society. I did everything. I was a member of the Octopus Sports Club, which is underwater hockey.
All right.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Sounds like York was pretty cool to me.
Underwater hockey, that's what I've spent most of my time playing, which is
Right.
where you have fins and a mask and a snorkel, and you have this little bat thing, and you play with an ice hockey puck on the bottom of a pool.
Yeah.
And it's quite aggressive. There's quite a few bloody noses. But it wasn't studying. What else did I do?
Must be quite hard to referee that.
It's quite difficult to referee. Yeah. You lose a few referees if they don't bring a snorkel. It's a ridiculous, stupid sport, and it's clearly not a spectator sport. I don't know whether people still play it, but I spent most of my time at university just fannying around.
You did it in an aquarium in one of those things where people can walk underneath.
Oh, that'd be quite good, wouldn't it?
Watch up from underneath.
That would be quite good. Yeah.
And they should leave the sharks in there as well.
Yeah.
To make it doubly interesting.
That'd be far more interesting. That would be far. I'd like that. Yeah. Because I've learned to scuba dive recently, but in the last 4 years. So all of my spare time now we go scuba diving.
Do you?
Yeah. I love it. I bloody love it.
It's not. None of these adventure things appeal to me at all. What do you like about it?
I like feeling completely and utterly insignificant. It's a real joy, but I like it because it's peaceful and nobody can talk to you, but people can still irritate you though. I was diving a couple of weeks ago. We went to Lanzarote.
Nice.
Diving, which is it was nice. I thought it'd be quite Brits abroad, but it wasn't. It was nice. And you know, it's quite an expensive hobby to have. You've got to buy a bit of stuff, and you've got to fly out places and all that sort of stuff. And I do it because it relaxes me. But there was this French bloke on our dive. He was a right arsehole. And he kept sort of swimming in front of me and sort of cutting me off at various things. I'd be looking at something and then his fin would come into my face. And it was a real moment of sort of 30 metres down going, Christ, how far away from people do you actually have to go? I mean, I've gone to a lot of trouble here. I'm wearing a very constricting wetsuit, a very heavy tank, 6 kilograms of weight. I've done 2 lots of courses. I've flown around the world to have a bit of peace. And now there's some French arsehole right in front of me, finning me in the face. I mean, how far away do I have to go? It's space, I think, is the next thing. Yeah. Yeah.
And so you've just finished your tour. What you're not going to do Edinburgh this year?
No. I do one on, one off.
Do you? Yeah.
Yeah, because I can't write a good enough hour, and I mean your level of work and your productivity just blows my mind. Because I'm like, an hour every couple of years, that'll do it. That'll be all right. And I think if you're going to Edinburgh, you really need to like your show, and you really need to like the words that you're saying. And it just takes me too long to write an hour that I'm happy to do for that full month, because there's nothing worse than going up there, finding yourself there for 27 nights in a row or whatever, and on the first night going, this is shit, isn't it? How many more of these have we got to do? So I like to go knowing I've got a show that I'm going to enjoy doing for the month, because then if you enjoy it, the audience enjoy it much more. They can see you enjoying it. Yeah.
So what are you going to do? You're going to be working on a new show?
Got to drink 6-pack of beer on the beach. I live in Brighton. Why not? If it's a sunny August, I'll be there with me 4-pack on the beach. I really should be doing some work, but I've got some gigs booked in. I've got some bits and bobs doing, but I'm going to enjoy summer.
Yeah, well. I mean, it's aside from I was mentioning backstage, one of the summers that I took off, I did do all 12 shows here instead of doing
really
Edinburgh,
not...
which wasn't really. But even though it was only on Fridays and Saturdays, so although I had to learn them in the week and write a new show for the end, it was kind of nice.
That's quite full on.
It was quite.
That is quite full on.
It was more work than going to Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Last year, I went to bloody Indiana. That's the same as going to Alaska. Went to Indiana to see my wife's dying uncle.
Right.
Well, we didn't know he was dying, but then he died.
Oh, while you were there?
Yeah. We knew he was going to die, but we thought we had.
We all know we're going to die.
We thought he had a bit more time.
Yeah.
It wasn't funny.
Yeah.
I talked about it a bit last week. It was like one of those. It was one of those things which there was so much in it.
Yes.
But it's kind of my in-laws, and I think if I talk about it too much, I'll upset a lot of people.
Yes.
So one day I'll get to write about this. A very strange experience I had in Warsaw, Indiana. Warsaw, yeah, like Warsaw in Poland, but in Indiana.
Yeah.
And it's right in the heart of Trump
territory.
Basically, it's, we went to lunch with one of my wife's auntie's friends who had 5-6 Trump banners in the front of her garden.
Amazing,
we're saying, it's all because of Benghazi. That's why I'm voting for Trump.
For Benghazi, that's for Benghazi.
Well, because of the that's what it was, wasn't it? Where Clinton with the
diplomat
got killed, and so they all blamed Clinton for that. But as with all these things, they were all just looking for the reason to say I'm voting. It's like Brexit. The reason people were able to say is because of the NHS bus. Yeah. That's the reason we're voting. That wasn't true. Oh.
Well, I mean,
I thought that was the reason you voted. Yeah, doesn't matter though.
Yeah. Doesn't matter though. I met a bloke in a bar in Alaska, and it was his bar, and we got talking, and he said, "So where are you guys from?" And I said, "Well, we live in the UK," and he went, "Brexit!" I was like, wow, how is this even affecting you? Why would you I was really fascinated by, and I said, well, I said, why? They really hate Merkel over there. They really hate Germany. They really hate Merkel. This is really interesting. But I had to explain to him that, we were all different nationalities around the table, and that, my Irish dad, my Irish stroke American brother, my Dutch friend.
No, so well, as it occurs to me, which is coming out soon and maybe out by the time the first episodes might be out by the time we this one airs. But I talked about that. There's in Warsaw they had on the school field, like there was a school, and it was the holiday time.
Yeah.
But they'd erected like loads of little white crosses on the school field.
Yeah.
And each of those crosses represented 4 abortions that had happened in Warsaw, in the county that Warsaw was in.
Wow.
Since like 1978 or something. The remarkable thing I thought was it's not that many crosses and if you really care about abortions, why make every cross 4? Make every cross 1.
Give it to every fetus is an individual, surely.
It's like, I want to represent. God, that's a lot of work.
That's a lot of whittling.
I mean, but then you sort of think you're driving your kids past their school, going, why is the field full of cross? Oh, they're for aborted fetuses.
So it's in a school field?
It's in a school playing ground in the field.
You see, if that had happened over here, parents were going, you see, if that hadn't happened, your classroom size would be even bigger. Count your lucky stars.
So it was an experience. It wasn't somewhere you would choose to go on holiday. I think Alaska's probably not somewhere. Maybe you would choose.
Well, the landscape's beautiful.
Yeah,
the landscape is really stunning. It is really, really stunning.
I saw Amish people and stuff like that. That was quite good. So, we went for a day to the Amish country and went round the Amish museum, heritage the site.
Yeah.
Don't like buttons, the Amish.
They like what?
Don't like buttons or beards.
They don't like buttons?
Buttons or beards.
They've got beards.
But it's because, it was that part of the bit, the moustache bit.
Oh, why don't they have, with the free floating?
Because the German people that sent them all, there was a big hoo-ha in Germany. And they didn't like what they were going on about. Their version of Christianity was slightly different. And, if Jesus said anything, it was make sure you fight anyone who doesn't exactly agree with you. Broadly agrees with you, but doesn't exactly agree with you. Make sure you... And I think those German guys had big moustaches and big buttons. And so they just, the guys who kind of... I think this is right. Correct me if there are any... the problem is no Amish people are going to be listening, are they? That's the problem. So if you're an Amish person listening, please write in with a quill pen on a parchment and put it on a beach.
You're not going to be doing a reef lecture on this subject anytime soon.
I quite like them. They also they sort of have little tricks to get around it. So
hang on, if they haven't got buttons, and I presume they don't have zips.
Yeah, no, don't have zips.
Well, how do they do up their pants?
There was one kind of, I think there was one sort of fastening they were allowed. There was a lot of pins. There was a lot of pins.
Oh, okay.
I think they were allowed to have buttons somewhere, but it was because of the persecution. But there was also this thing where now some of them have businesses and they need websites and phones to run their businesses. So they're allowed to use a phone, but only if it's sort of an inconvenient distance away. So they're kind of adapting a little bit.
Yeah, they're gonna have to let it go.
I need a phone. I'm gonna go on the internet. All right. Well, as long as you use that phone that's over there, that's okay.
One of those ones that's still attached to the wall.
Yeah.
Oh, this is inconvenient.
But there's a lot of good things about it, and the way the Amish community works is if like someone has a misfortune, the rest of the community come round and help them.
Yeah.
So they don't believe in insurance because they couldn't. I think it's gambling, but whatever, it's not allowed.
Okay.
So if someone's barn burns down,
then
everyone else just comes and gives them stuff. Which is quite apt just at the moment as well. But that the way the community just comes together. So if they don't need insurance because they'll just help each other if someone's ill or if someone needs to be sent to college or whatever.
It's a nice
they'll all
idea.
club together to make that happen. Yeah. And it's a community. So there was lots of really brilliant things about it. But kind of someone have a moustache if they want it.
Does it really work? Because I bet you still get the odd arsehole. Doesn't matter what system you put in place. They're like that. I can't be asked to work. I'll just wait for somebody to bring me some jam, fudge, maybe a Kit Kat. No, it is interesting.
Yeah. So it's kind of weird. It's sort of interesting going to a place on holiday that you would never choose to go.
Yeah.
And then you sort of see, but that you sort of saw the real America as well as this, and then within this America, this kind of weird. like throwback to something else that still exists within America. So that's and America is such a melting pot.
Yeah.
And so many different things. So for some, that it's very, you've got to admire their grit to stay saying we're not going to integrate.
No, actually, wholesome cart still, isn't it? Yeah.
So it was interesting, but then someone died, didn't I, to cope with that. So it was a man I didn't know died, and I saw his dead body.
Oh. Okay.
One day there'll be a night. I'll do a funny play about it one day. Don't you worry, it's going to be fun. Hey, look, we're going to have to stop talking to him. It's been very lovely talking to you. There was loads I was going to talk to you about. We didn't get around to. So you maybe have. When you won the Nivea Funny Woman competition, did you get free Nivea? Yeah.
I had the best skin for about 6 months. It was very moist for about 6 months. Yeah. A couple of tubs of that. Yeah. I wish it'd been sponsored by Absolute, but there you go.
Right, I'm going to take a random. Should I do a random one, or I'll ask you one from the back of here. I think there might be a couple of good ones in the back of here. Let's have a look. We'll see. Hey, this is guy. I just tweeted this today, but this isn't going to be funny. This is kind of interesting. I was looking at the Voyager space probe, and there was a thing on Twitter showing there's 116 images of the planet Earth and things on the planet Earth that Carl Sagan and the people at NASA decided to send out on this gold disc into space.
Right.
So that if aliens find it, that will represent what the human beings are and
on a
what
disc?
human life. Yeah, on a kind of gold disc that could play music and show pictures.
Right.
Sent out in anyone know? It must have been 1970s, was it?
Oh,
77.
Yes.
Because it comes back in Star Trek, doesn't it? And it tries to destroy the world. So watch out for that. What one photo would you send out to aliens? It's a difficult last question. So I'll do one about bumming at to end. Sorry, no, I'm saving bumming for next week.
What photo
would you think would sum up? It's quite a difficult thing. No, they had to send out 116 photos, or they only had a certain amount on there. Is there a thing you would like to send out?
At the moment, I think it would probably be a photo of Trump, which sounds quite. But just to go, it came to this. Finally, we screwed it up so badly and created a system so off its head that it came to this. It ended with this, because I think it might well end with this. It's because if there is a nuclear war, cockroaches and his hair are the only two things that will now survive. That will totally take a blast.
Maybe a picture of a cockroach in Donald
Trump's hair. Yeah. This is what the human race was reduced to. I'm a totally awesome cockroach. Oh my God, I'm the most amazing cockroach in the world. I'm the most incredible cockroach. I mean, when I was watching him 2 weeks ago when he was in Saudi Arabia, and I was just watching and I went, what am I looking at here? And I thought, I'm looking at a bloke who used to be a reality TV star and is now the President of the United States, who a few months ago wanted to ban Muslims from entering the USA. He's now in Saudi Arabia talking about extremism to a regime that beheads protesters and flogs homosexuals. I mean, you could not make this shit up. This is why fake news is so much more appealing than reality these days. It's gone completely tits up, so I think that's probably, it's not a joyful, I'd send that and maybe a picture of a hammerhead shark, because I like them as well. I go, which of these two is more dangerous? Yeah.
It could have been you. You could have been the reality TV star.
Could have been me,
president
mate.
Of
I'd have gone proper Kim Jong-un. I'd have gone really. I'd have started out all nicey, and then gone, do you know what? Fuck it. I'll be carried around on a gold throne. Yeah,
I think it'd be tempting to be, I mean, he's already got that propensity anyway before he was the president.
Totally.
So.
Yeah. So.
Well, it's been lovely to talk to you. You must come back again because there's so many things to talk to you about. But ladies and gentlemen, give a massive round of applause, Zoe Lyons! Thank you very much. We'll be back. We'll be back in a week with Andrew Collins. Go and buy one of those. Buy this. See you, bye-bye. How'd you like them sky potatoes?